good afternoon all, and welcome back to the Kieran Climbing Racing Show for the Midweek Outlook at the novice hurdle races that are going on between Tuesday and Friday this week. Plenty of action, just some off-the-cuff racing, maybe a few smart horses in there making their debuts over hurdles, etc. So we start off with, at Tuesday, we go to Hereford, the 12:15 Marslistic for Kim Bailey, and nice winner up at Aintree. The form has been frank since. Also was fourth in a decent race the first time up, I believe, at Chepstow as well. So plenty of decent form coming out for this horse. He has to give weight away, obviously, for winning at Aintree, but he goes in the 12:15 at Hereford tomorrow. Should take a lot of beating. I think he'll be fairly short in the market. We'll see what price he comes up with, but he looks a nice animal, a nice prospect, especially when he goes further in distance in time. The 12:50, there's two horses to bear in mind in this race. Cool Kid for the Tizzards was third on debut at Kempton. Should come on for the run. The Tizzards horses are in fine form currently. Obviously another couple of winners over the weekend. They look in extremely good form, and I think this horse could go close tomorrow. And the other one is Liam Mare Kia for Warren Greatrex, was third, sent off favourite that day at Huntington. So they might have been a bit disappointed with the run, but should come on plenty, and I think there's plenty more to come from this horse as well. And then just one over at Southall for the all-conquering Ollie Murphy and Sean Bowen team. It's Next Twist, who was sixth at Stratford on debut. Like I said, most of these will come on for the run first time up, and this horse has actually gone up slightly in trip as well, which could suit also. That's it for Tuesday. We go on to Wednesday, and we start off at Market Raisin, the 12:20. Now, I have pre-prepared this before deck, so some of these might not be running, but we'll give it a go anyway. So a winner at Huntington for Kim Bailey was very, very impressive that day. He goes again, obviously under a penalty. You got Abby Scope in there for Nicky Richards, winning a bumper last time at Kelso, new recruit to the hurdling yard, but he's very well regarded by the stable. I've heard that Nicky Richards thinks a lot of this boy, and hopefully it could go close. And then Quanta Vista was 8th at Stratford, slightly disappointing on debut, was sent off second favourite for the Skeltons, but knowing the Skeltons, this horse will probably come on leaps and bounds for the run, and will go close Wednesday, and that's only a few for the Wednesday. There's very little ones that I've got to note for the Wednesday, which is very surprising, but there's plenty for Thursday, where we go to Lingfield to start with. We got the 150, where Ben Paulin sends out a fancy getaway, a point-to-point winner. Looks a nice prospect, and this horse has been tagged by a few others around the podcast scene, so good to see that Ben's got him out and running. He's obviously had plenty of winners this year so far, Ben Paulin. This looks like another decent recruit. The 3 o'clock looks a decent old novice hurdle renewal with, you got Carabello Cliff in here. He's also entered at Newbury as well on Friday, but he could come here. He was 6th at Newbury and then listed in a Class 2 event last time out behind, I can't think of the name of the Hobbs. Oh, Captain Hugo, the Hobbs horse, was very impressive that day. Another one that I thought was very eye-catching was Vol Royale, who was 5th at Chepstow. I thought for the Woolacott team, I thought it was very eye-catching, his run when he finished 5th that day, and he should come on plenty for that run and could be one to definitely note now up in trip. Mossy Fen Road for Harry Derham team, last seen finishing 9th in the Aintree Bumper. And the Aintree Bumper's form took a slight knock over the weekend, obviously with Green Splendor, the winner, getting beat at Cork on Sunday, so yesterday. But plenty of winners have come from the race so far, so Mossy Fen Road will definitely be one to bear in mind on Hurdle's debut. And the other one is Dutch Corner Third in a Warwick bumper for the Skeltons, could potentially be making his hurdling debut as well. One at Taunton, you got King's Order in the 105 at Taunton. Down the field in the Chepstow race, first time up over hurdles for Evan Williams. Just looks like he may be a handicapper to follow down the line, but just one maybe for your notebooks. He looks like he got a bit of ability. He ran in a Class 2 bumper at the back end of last season, so they obviously think highly of him. Didn't really take the hurdles first time up, but it could be one for handicaps down the line. And then 2 over at Utoxeter. You got Chris Mara, who was second for the Henderson team. I think I pronounced it right. Henderson and JP McManus was second at Punchestown at the back end of last season. She's in the 12:55, along with first candidate who was highly regarded by the Skeltons, but she fell on hurdles debut at Stratford, so hopefully she's no ill effects from that and should run a lot more better race this time out. And then a couple from Thurles. Now, I don't normally mention horses from Ireland, but there's 2 Willie Mullins horses that I wanted to just get in the podcast. You got Arslan, who was third in a bumper behind Kaiser Ball and Each to Their Own. He makes his hurdling debut for the Mullins yard. And Larazak, who was 6th last time being seen behind the Lambert at the Punchestown Festival in the juvenile race, now goes into novice hurdle company as a 4-year-old. Could be plenty more to come. JP McManus owned. Interesting to see what they do with this horse, whether he is good enough to be in the higher levels or whether he's just a handicapper down the line. We then move on to Friday, the final day we're going to cover, and there's plenty of horses out here of interest. Firstly, going to Doncaster, then the 12:55 now. Obviously, all these may run or they may not run. If they all run, it's going to be an absolute classic of a race. You've got Dalston Lad in there, who was 7th at Cheltenham for the Skeltons. You've got Gillespie, who is a horse I really liked from the Paul Nicholls stable. He was quite disappointing on debut, to be honest, when only finishing a lacklustre 3rd at Chepstow. He was beaten a long way that day by the Sam Thomas trained horse. I can't remember the name of the horse now off the top of my head. Matty's Getaway for Kim Bailey, who was 4th at Chepstow. A little bit disappointing that run. I backed him that day, and I thought he potentially could give maybe finish 2nd or 3rd to Sober Glory, but he tried to go with Sober Glory, and that probably wasn't the best of ideas. Sober Glory was very impressive that day, and looks definitely one to keep on side for the future, that's for sure, especially with the Challow, I think, in mind. Port Station, 3rd at Newcastle on hurdles debut. Now, this could be a dark horse for up north, Northern Stables. Ian Jardine trains. This was highly regarded. He spoke a lot of this horse, Ian Jardine, so hopefully he could come on for the 3rd at Newcastle. But this does look like it could be a fairly deep race. Key Item, who is also entered in at Newbury as well for the Henderson team, point-to-point winner. Point-to-point runner, 2nd and 3rd in his point-to-points. Bought for a lot of money, goes to the Henderson team. He could be one to keep on side as well. And the last one is the Prince of Peace, who was an eye catcher for me at Foss Lass and finishing 2nd for the Rebecca Curtis team. If he turns up here, he will probably be a bet for me. He was very, very eye catcher. I know there's plenty in this field that could potentially be decent class, but I wouldn't be surprised if not half of these turn up. But yeah, if they do turn up, it will be a stacked race at Doncaster on Friday. We then go to Musselburgh, the 105, where we got Abby Scope is in here again. Obviously, mentioned he could potentially run on Wednesday at Market Raisin, but if he doesn't, potentially could take this engagement up here. And then the 2nd and the 3rd from a race at Perth a couple of weeks ago. Chancery Point for the Lucinda Russell team and Centurion Sister again for the Nicky Richards team. It'll be interesting to see which one they send, whether they send Addy Scott or Centurion Sister across. And then the last race I'm going to cover is the 12:15 at Newbury, where again looks a very stacked entries at this stage. You've got Cabral Cliff again. Like I said, he's also entered on Thursday. Obviously, we'll see what happens with declarations. Claim to the Throne. It was pulled up disappointingly for the Tizzards at Carlisle when last seen, but obviously the Tizzard team is in a lot better form now. Potentially could come on leaps and bounds for that run. Harbour Island, who was second at Carlisle to My Daddy Paddy. Obviously, potential people said he potentially wasn't put in the race, but if he goes and wins on Friday, how good is My Daddy Paddy? Stormy George, third in that race in the Class 2 behind Captain Hugo. Looks strong form, could potentially be the one to beat here. Although there is a couple of 3 or 4 point-to-point recruits in here that are very, very interesting. Hardly surprising. 5th at Fontwell on debut for Harry Fry. He's point-to-point. Like, surely JP wouldn't have bought this for no reason. He's going to surely come on for the run. Joanne Delama. Now, for Fergal O'Brien, point-to-point recruit, could be anything, and the fact that they're throwing him into a Newbury maiden early, they probably think plenty of him. And then key item who I mentioned earlier, who's in the Doncaster race, could potentially come here as well. So it looks like there's plenty of quality available this week going into the weekend. Obviously, there's plenty of action at Newbury and Newcastle over the weekend, which I will cover on Thursday in my normal podcast slot, potentially with a special guest joining me as well. But I hope you all enjoyed today's video. I hope there's plenty of winners that come out of this video, as the last few weeks have been. There's been plenty of winners coming out. No, I haven't backed them, but I'll put them up as selections, but winners are winners, and if people are following, that is what we need. But if you could like and subscribe to the channel, guys, that'd be great. Please retweet if possible. And I hope you all enjoy your week, guys, and I'll see you on Thursday for the weekend preview. Hope you all have a good day, and happy punting to you all.